Welcome back. It's Gershapal, and the reviews keep on coming. We've got another Age of Revelation time to look at, and it is none other than X-Men Book of Revelation #1. Look at Revelation there. Defiant, leading his mutant utopia. I tell you what, I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert right now. This book is the best Age of Revelation tie-in we've had this week. I know. You're saying, Angelo, you actually like one of these books? I did. And I tell you what, the big reveal at the end is worth every single page you have to read to get there. Let's dive into it. I'm going to go through it page by page. I'm going to give you loads of spoilers, so do read the book beforehand if you don't want it spoiled. And I recommend you do, because the payoff is actually really worth it. I was happy at least. Like the video if you can, and hit that subscribe button. So it's Jed MacKay, of course. He seems to be doing the important books in this Age of Revelation Mega X event, let's just say, because he's the only one that's actually continuing the story, really, and in fact adding anything substantial to the overarching story. And I guess he is the architect of the whole thing, so you know it enables him to do that more. But the other books are really floating my boat. But this one was really good. So let's talk about Revelation himself, Doug Ramsey, aka the Heir of Apocalypse. So he has the power of sort of, when he talks to you, he can command you, he can make you do things, okay? Now he has these choristers, and these choristers are other mutants, and their power is to amplify other mutants' powers. So they're very important to his cause, because without them, I don't think he would be as strong, or at least his power, you know, his spoken word wouldn't be as strong. He has the power to, like I say, make you do whatever he wants. He also has the power to remove your ability to talk, to communicate, to understand language, and he turns you into a babble. So these choristers to him are very important, okay? And the loss of one is not good. Now, we have a new chorister, a very young girl here called Albecca Voss, and she's sitting in her room, and she's hearing something quite scary. She can hear a ghost. It's the ghost of Philadelphia. Now, this idea, because they are based in Philadelphia, remember, I thought was a really cool little thing that they were going to throw in. It wasn't going to amount to much. It's going to be something mysterious. But there is actually a ghost of Philadelphia. We're going to find out all about that soon. So she's scared, of course. She's scared of what's going on in her room. She can hear these voices. She's also scared because she's a young girl in a mutant world that is filled full of all sorts of crazy things. She's also scared because she is now going to be one of the new choristers too, the leader himself, Revelation. Now, that's a big job for a young child. Now, they're all assembled, and he speaks to his population saying that one of our choristers has been killed, which also happened in the X-Men Age of Revelation Overture #1. I think it was Topaz was murdered, okay? And that's a great loss, like I say, okay? Because they don't grow on trees. They do not, much like all the growth that's growing through Philadelphia, as you can see here. So he announces her to the world, okay? And he reinforces their belief in the mission. As you can see, he rolls them up. You know, he says, we don't want to go back to how the humans used to treat us with their boot on our neck. And he has got the population here, like I say, really rallied behind him. You can see that he is adored as much as he is feared. And he sort of humanizes himself very gently to her as well, because I thought he was going to be a bit tough. Now, one of the other choristers, I forget which one, you know, maybe that says at the beginning where we introduce characters. Yes, let's have a look. Fabian Cortez, how could I forget? So Fabian Cortez, he's not very nice to this young girl. He's threatened by her, okay, because he's the top chorister. He is Revelation's #1, right? And he doesn't like this little young pretender coming in, maybe, you know, knocking him off his perch. And I've said that very specifically, and you'll see why later. But good old Doug Ramsey here, he crouches down to her and talks to her gently and says, listen, call me Doug. You know, I care about you. You've got a great job to do. You know, it's okay to be scared. I'd be scared too. And they have a chat. And she's like, well, this is really strange. You talk to me like a normal person, if you know what I mean. You talk to everyone else in this, you know, giant, booming, terrifying voice. And he's like, well, that's what people expect from a leader. So I give the people what they think they want, what they need, all right? I can then, you know, keep in power, and they believe in me because they see a strong leader. But to you guys, I can talk normally. So it's reinforcing the fact that he's very manipulative, right? As you can see, Cortez really doesn't like this young girl, and he tells her a little bit of a story. He says, you know, are you going to warn her about the ghost? And she's like, ghost? What ghost? I mean, she's a young child. She's bound to be scared of ghosts, right? And he says, the ghost of Philadelphia. They say when you're about to sleep, that's when she whispers into your ear. They say she drives people mad. Now, one of the other choristers there or assistants says, what are you doing? It's a young child. Just leave her alone. And he says, Elbeka, I never tell a lie. I'm speaking the truth, as I was when I called you a stupid child, because he called her a stupid child earlier on. So he doesn't like her at all. He just wants to scare her. Who knows why? Anyway, that night, the ghost does come to her. It does speak to her, making her more and more scared. But she's thinking, you know what? Revelation was nice to me. He let me call him by his own name. Maybe I need to embrace this thing. But then she says, no, I'm lying. I am scared of the ghost. I am scared of being a chorister, maybe, of my duties, of what I've got to live up to. So the next morning, they're all assembled. Okay. And Cortez is being his usual self, and she asks for help. She asks for help from a fellow chorister. And she's like, no, I'm not going to help you. Okay. I'm not going to help you at all. And you think, what a mean bitch, right? She says, well, I'm from Araco. And the Iraqi learn that they must solve their own problems in order to find their own strength or perish. She says, okay. Revelation says, Araco. Yes, speaking of which, our guest will arrive shortly. So there's someone coming. Apocalypse has sent a messenger. Apocalypse is not happy. Apocalypse wants war. He does not believe that Revelation has succeeded in his mission, whatever that mission is. He believes that Revelation is weak. Okay? But Revelation has ulterior plans, as we're learning as we go on through these books. But anyway, they tidy themselves up, and he says to his choristers, don't overreact. Stay calm. We don't need an interplanetary incident. So he's saying, listen, just be cool, basically. I'm paraphrasing, of course. So this messenger does arrive. It's one of the horsemen of Apocalypse. Is it war, as Revelation expected? No. It's death. Now, greetings from Araco, Revelation. He says, so it's to be you, Death. Welcome to Earth, horseman. Welcome to the Revelation territories. And Death says, I suppose you know why I've come. Revelation says, to deliver a message, of course, by your very presence. He says, though I had expected your sister. You expect my father to be so obvious as to send war? And Revelation replies, do you call sending death as an emissary subtle? Apocalypse missive, please. So there's no love lost between these two. He says, you have failed your mission. You have squandered your inheritance. You have perverted your purpose. Apocalypse demands you surrender these territories, which you have so shamelessly named for yourself, and submit to his judgment on Araco. Revelation defiantly replies, well, he always was direct. In anticipation of this request, I prepared a response for you to bring to your father. No. He says, I know, he's getting rough and tough. Who takes on Apocalypse, right? So Death says, and Death's caught a little bit off guard here, I must admit. He says, we know what you are planning, Ramsey, and it's an abomination. So they know what's going on. We don't yet. He says, listen, you've delivered your message and received mine. Return to your own world, messenger. And he says, a little respect, if you please. I could look at you, Revelation. I could look at you and you would die. Revelation doesn't even skip a beat. He's like, and I could tell you to die, and you would too. So you see, these two are kind of evenly matched, right? And that incident that we were talked about before not happening is happening. It's Revelation himself. But Death has one little thing to remind Revelation. He says, my father's missive had a postscript, forgive me, please. We are saddened to hear of the loss of Bay the Blood Moon, a mighty warrior and hunter. We offer condolences on the death of your wife. Just to wind him up, because she sent the message to Apocalypse. That's how Apocalypse knows what's going on, because she sent a message about what Revelation's up to. Again, we still don't know what that is. And that's why this whole thing is happening. He says, choristers to me, and they power him the hell up. And he goes, kneel. And he makes one of the four horsemen kneel. It is a really, really cool scene. He says, you are his blood, and how it must have galled you to see me named as his heir. He says, such words he puts in your mouth, that I have squandered my inheritance, but inheritance only comes after a death. And he goes, kill you. He said, tell Apocalypse that he abdicated any power he held over me or this world when he passed his mission on to me. Whew, this is tough. He's taking on Apocalypse here. And I really, really like this. It's suddenly elevated here. Revelation is not the only threat here, you know. the X-Men aren't the only threat to Revelation. Apocalypse is coming. He says, tell it to that sad, old, purposeless man in that retirement home you call Araco, which is on Mars, I guess, where, Apocalypse lives. He says, go home. He goes, you shouldn't have said that, as he sends him right back through the portal back to Apocalypse to deliver that message, which won't be received very kindly. The Arturists are like, they're all a bit stunned at what's going on. He says, you and he shouldn't have said that about my wife. Goodbye, death. Now, ironically, he actually sent one of his, I think he sent Wolverine. Was it Wolverine? No, it was one of the other characters. I can't remember which one. He sent one of his sort of elite seraphim, that's it, to murder his wife as she was trying to escape the Revelation territories. And before she could be killed and stopped, she sent the message to Araco and she was killed, and Apocalypse turned up to watch her dying breath. So, although he was very upset what was said there, I thought it was slightly out of place. But it was cool. It was cool what happened, but knowing what he'd done, and you're going to say, yeah, but, his cause was so important. Even the love of the person he loved the most was sacrificed. No, I get that. I get that. It makes sense. Anyway, later on, we see the young chorister here sitting on the this tower top, let's just say. And Cortez turns up and he says, yeah, you know what? I do hate you. And he explains why. And I thought, wow, he's being very honest here. Someone who as egotistical as this person and this narcissist, revealing that, listen, I don't like you. And that's because I fear you're going to replace me. He's saying, but it's not really a problem anymore. She's like, why? Because he throws her off the edge and she tumbles down and thinking, oh my God, Rebecca, we just met you on the first page and now you're dying. But the ghost of Philadelphia appears once again. And here's where you get a really great payoff. And she's like, ghost, help me. And she goes, use your power. She goes, on who? She goes, me. So she reaches out and she touches this weird wisp of a ghosty sort of floating essence. And of course, it's Kitty Pryde. Yes, I was waiting for Kitty Pryde to come with this. So, of course, she takes her power. The chorister can boost the power of the person she touches, of course, or gains, rather. Let's rephrase that. Kitty Pryde, I guess, can't take full form just yet by the looks of it, right? However, with the chorister boosting Kitty's power, she has some kind of sort of more solid form that she can take part in and then save the girl from falling and maybe come back for good. Who knows? Hi, Rebecca. My name's Kitty Pryde and you're going to be okay. What a finish. Now, again, I got a bit tongue twisted at the end here because I got a bit too excited, but I'm super excited by this book. I'm absolutely loving it. The art was really, really cool. I love the new little character here. She sounds like a cool little new X-Men that we can maybe get used to for a little while this event runs. We've got Kitty Pryde returning in such style. We've got the brutal Cortez trying to murder her. Okay. And we've got Apocalypse, who's going to be extremely pissed off with Revelation and set path for Earth to correct the mistakes he thinks are being made. On top of that, we saw him put down one of the horsemen with just one word. And I really, really like that. Again, I think they need to make something a bit more with the wife thing. He got very angry about it. I would have thought he would have got over that. But we do see that he really did love her in a previous book. But I love the idea that Apocalypse is willing to sort of say something, just to put a little dagger in Revelation's heart to show, do you know what? I can still hurt you from being as far away as I am. So all in all, this was a really good book. I love the way Kitty Pryde's come back. I love the fact that she is the ghost of Philadelphia. I love the fact that the choristers themselves kind of don't really like each other at all. There's infighting there. I love the fact that there's more threats than just Revelation. We've got Apocalypse too. So all in all, this I think was my favorite Age of Apocalypse book this week. And I tell you what, out of all the times, it is tying or maybe just going a little bit higher than Unbroken X-Men. No, you know what? This was the best one. I loved it. I really love it. So, you know what? Jed MacKay's done a great job. Netho Diaz has done an incredible job on the art. All in all, I thoroughly recommend this book, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So, Age of Apocalypse, or rather Age of Revelation. I mean, it is kind of an Age of Apocalypse again. I know we've got Age of Apocalypse returning for its anniversary. Anyway, this book of Revelation, the main book as well, are doing really, really well. So far, Jed MacKay scoring a lot of points with me. I mean, I wish he was this good on his actual, 616 mainline X-Men book. For me, that hasn't been great, but this has been quite superb, really. I do think this could have been a story that was told in the main X-Men book, because I don't think it needs 15 new series this month alone. And I do think a lot of those other superfluous books are just totally unnecessary. They're a cash grab. So anyway, my point of the matter is, this was a good book. You've heard my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Read more comics. Like the video. Subscribe. See you soon.